Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got a really interesting stack of sources today, all about systematic goal achievement. It's specifically aimed at creators, sort of a creator's self-help guide, you could say.
Yeah, it's super relevant. I mean, most of the advice we get, the systems we try, they're built on this idea that success is all about pure grit, right? Intense willpower.
Forcing yourself, basically.
Exactly. Forcing yourself to write or draw every single day, no matter what. But, this material we're looking at, it suggests something pretty counterintuitive. It's saying that actually achieving those big goals often has very little to do with that kind of intense effort, or even like how perfect your plan is.
Okay, that definitely grabs my attention. So if it's not willpower and it's not the plan itself, what are we missing?
That's what we're digging into.
Right. So our mission today, for you listening, is to pull out the 3 critical keys from these sources. Keys that should let you, well, smoothly complete plans and naturally achieve goals.
Yeah, the idea is to move past that whole cycle of just grinding it out and burning out. We're looking for alignment over sheer effort. We want the process to actually feel, easy, not like a fight every day.
That brings us perfectly into key 1, locating the problem.
Yeah.
And that feeling of frustration that comes with creative goals, it's pretty universal.
Oh, absolutely. We've all done it. You get the fancy notebook, set the super early alarm.
Follow the YouTube tutorial, load up on coffee.
Right. And for 3 days, maybe a week, you are absolutely crushing it. You feel like, this is it, I've got it.
But then, poof.
Exactly. Inevitably, the rhythm just collapses, you're wiped out, inspiration's gone, and you hit that familiar wall. And what do we conclude?
Plans just can't keep up with real life. Or I'm just not disciplined enough.
Precisely. It feels like a very logical conclusion, but these sources, they argue that thinking is actually fundamentally misplaced.
Right, hang on. So you're saying my lack of effort wasn't the real problem when I flamed out.
That's exactly what they're saying. The effort isn't the issue. And the steps in your plan, they aren't necessarily wrong either. The core problem the material points to is something they call person-plan mismatch.
Person-plan mismatch. Okay, I like that framing.
Yeah.
It's cleaner. It's not about how hard you run, it's about running in the wrong shoes.
That's the perfect analogy they use. Like trying to run a marathon in shoes that are 2 sizes too small. You can force yourself to run a few miles, sure.
But you're going to end up bleeding and exhausted pretty quick.
Exactly. You can't blame the shoes entirely or your own effort. You just picked the wrong gear for that specific run. The fit was wrong.
And to compensate for that bad fit, what do? We default to brute force, sheer willpower.
Right. If you're naturally a night owl, but your plan says write scripts at 6 a.m.
Right.
Well, the sources describe your brain then as being like paste.
Huh. Yeah, I know that feeling. Totally useless for anything creative.
But you force it anyway because the plan says so. That's the mismatch.
And that forcing, that relies on what the sources call the emergency kit, right?
Yeah. Spot on. The quick fixes, your alarm clock, the triple espresso, those short, frantic bursts of trying really hard, they do give you a temporary boost.
Yeah, you manage to squeeze out like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
Or finish half a drawing. And you tick the box thinking, okay, I did it.
But here's the catch the material highlights. Willpower is essential to keep that mismatched plan going, even for a bit. But it's not infinite.
Like the sources say, it's like a matchstick.
Exactly. A quick bright flare provides light for a second, but you can't possibly light up your whole creative journey with just one match, can you?
No way. And those emergency kit tools, the coffee, the alarms.
Think of them like duct tape on a leaky pipe in your basement. Sure, it might stop the dripping for a little while.
But the pipe itself is still broken.
Right, and the underlying problem hasn't gone away. When that tape inevitably gives out, the water is going to spray everywhere, probably even harder than before.
Okay, so that's the real core of it.
Yeah.
Working against your own nature. The nature plan misalignment.
Yeah, like trying to make a creative person who needs dead silence work effectively in a bustling, noisy cafe.
It's like, as the sources put it rather bluntly, trying to force a fish to fly.
It's a great image, isn't it? The fish will just thrash around, exhaust itself, and never actually get airborne, never reach the goal.
And since willpower is finite, like a phone battery, trying to power sustained creative work on it alone.
It's like trying to light up the entire moon with a single A battery. Just not going to happen. Eventually, that battery runs dry.
And then the laziness, as we call it, or just sheer exhaustion, kicks back hard. You need a day off, which turns into a week. And boom, you're locked right into that emergency kit dependency cycle. You rely on the quick fixes. The plan falls apart anyway. You blame yourself. feel awful.
Then you grit your teeth and try to force it even harder next time.
And the cycle just repeats. The crucial insight here isn't that you lacked grit. It's that you failed strategically to replace the leaky pipe.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've diagnosed the problem, the forced effort, the burnout, the mismatch. What's the fix? Well, that leads us directly to key 2, repeatability. We've found the broken pipe. Now we actually need to replace it with one that fits properly.
So the principle here is kind of revolutionary, actually. Stop trying to override yourself with willpower and caffeine.
Exactly. The plan has to adapt to you, not the other way around. You need to find, as they put it, your right seat.
Meaning, if you're a night owl, embrace it. Do your deep creative work at night.
Right. Or if you need total quiet, find that quiet corner, even if it means working on the bathroom floor for an hour, whatever works for you.
The sources have a case study, right?
Yeah.
See the designer.
Yeah, and her story is so relatable. She started out following the standard expert advice, get up at 6 a.m., practice design for 30 minutes.
How'd that go?
Predictably terribly. She failed almost immediately. She was exhausted. The work she produced was, in her words, terrible. And worse, she internalized it. She thought, I just don't have the discipline.
Oh, man, been there. So what was the breakthrough for her?
She had this realization. Her peak creative time wasn't 6 a.m. at all. It was actually around 9 p.m. after work. She felt relaxed then. Her mind wasn't cluttered.
The ideas actually flowed naturally.
Exactly. So she just shifted her 30-minute practice session to 9 p.m., put on some ambient music she liked, and just did it then.
And the result wasn't just that she stuck with it, was it?
No, that's the fascinating part. Not only did she sustain the practice, actually accumulating drafts and getting better, but the quality of her work fundamentally changed.
It wasn't forced.
Precisely. People started commenting on the soul in her designs, all because she stopped fighting her nature and started working with it. The work became part of her evening wind-down ritual, not some dreadful chore.
So the goal then is to make the plan so repeatable it becomes like brushing your teeth.
That's the analogy they use, yeah. Even if you have the absolute worst day, a huge argument, whatever, you still brush your teeth.
Yeah, it's automatic. No willpower needed. No alarm clock.
That's the level we're aiming for with the creative habit. It needs to be fundamentally non-painful, so it repeats almost automatically. And the material gives 3 really practical steps to engineer this.
Okay, lay them on us.
First, start small. Forget the huge, intimidating goal for now, like draw a complete illustration every single day.
Too much pressure.
Way too much. Break it down into a micro task. Something almost ridiculously easy, like sketch for 15 minutes daily, or even 5 minutes. The key is making the first step tiny.
Build the smallest possible unit of success first. Got it. What's next?
Second, bind it to existing habits. Think about rituals you already do without thinking. Maybe you always listen to a certain podcast while walking the dog, or you always have a cup of tea at 4 p.m. Find one of those automatic habits and slot your tiny creative task right into it. So maybe you jot down script ideas while the kettle boils for your tea. It becomes part of the existing effortless ritual.
Sneaky. I like it. And the third step.
Small rewards. This is just basic, effective behavioral psychology. Right after you finish your micro task, give yourself an immediate small reward.
Like what? A cookie?
Could be. Or watch one funny YouTube short. Eat one piece of chocolate. Just something small that gives your brain a little hit of pleasure right after the creative effort. It trains your brain to associate the action with feeling good.
Closing the loop, making it more likely you'll do it again tomorrow.
Exactly. You make the action non-painful, bind it to something easy, and reward it. That's how you build repeatability without relying on that faulty willpower battery.
Okay, so keys 1 and 2 fix the immediate problem, the mismatch, the lack of repetition. We've replaced the leaky pipe for the daily task.
Right. But for true long-term creative success, the sources say we need to zoom out. We need to look at the whole system. That brings us to key 3, global perspective.
Global perspective, meaning stop focusing only on today's 500 words or today's sketch.
Precisely. Instead, the material asks us to think about our creative work like planting a forest. It's a great metaphor.
Planting a forest. Okay, how does that work?
Well, each tree is like a small plan, a daily task. But for a forest to thrive, the trees need the right soil. That's your overall life rhythm, your schedule. And they need sunlight. That's your energy flow, your inspiration levels.
So it's about the whole ecosystem, not just one tree.
Exactly. Without that big picture view, you fall into those classic traps. The bursting effort, where you work like crazy for a week and then crash.
Or the 3-minute heat. tons of enthusiasm that fizzles out fast.
Right. A global perspective helps you build something sustainable, something resilient for the long haul.
Okay, so how do we actually start planting this creative forest, practically speaking?
First step is mapping the terrain. You need to map the big picture.
Mm.
Just take stock of your typical week. When are you usually swamped? When do you have downtime? And critically, when do you naturally feel most inspired or energetic?
Be honest about your own rhythms.
Totally honest.
Yeah.
Then, based on that map, you use what the sources call the inspiration calendar tool. It's simple. If you know your energy peaks at, say, 9 p.m. and it's in the gutter at 7 a.m., don't fight it. Schedule your heavy lifting creative work for 9 p.m.
And the 7 a.m. slot.
Use that for lighter stuff, maybe organizing notes, answering emails, tidying your workspace, low energy tasks for low energy times, high energy tasks for high energy times.
Aligning the task difficulty with your natural energy flow, that feeds into the next idea, right? Layered planning.
Exactly, layered planning. You basically divide your creative activities into 3 buckets.
Bucket 1.
Microtasks. These are your daily 5 to 15-minute practices, like size evening sketches, small, repeatable, low pressure.
Bucket 2.
Major projects. This is the deeper work. Maybe 1 or 2 hours, once or twice a week, writing a full article, working on a complex painting, composing a song section. You schedule these during your peak energy inspiration times.
And bucket 3.
Inspiration collection. This is the fertilizer for your forest. Reading books, watching documentaries, going for walks, surfing websites for ideas, listening to music. It's about feeding your creative well. And you can often slot this into lower energy times or downtime.
Okay, that structure makes sense. Micro, major, and fertilizer.
And the case study for this is Xiao Gao, the copywriter. She used to force herself to write for an hour every single day.
Burnout City, I'm guessing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Dry articles, constant frustration. So she switched to this layered system. Her microtask became 10 minutes every night, just collecting funny lines, interesting observations, bits of material enjoyable, low pressure.
That's the fertilizer collection almost.
Kinda, yeah. Then her major project was writing 1 full article, but only on Sunday morning, which was her peak writing time. And she consciously used web surfing as inspiration collection at other times.
So she wasn't just staring at a blank page for an hour anymore.
Nope. When she sat down on Sunday, she already had a raw material from her microtask collection. The well wasn't dry.
And the results?
Pretty impressive. The sources say she produced 30 viral articles and gained thousands of fans in about 6 months. And crucially, without that constant feeling of burnout.
Wow. But there's one more piece to this global perspective, isn't there? Something about rest.
Yes, absolutely critical. Leave breathing room. Don't schedule every single minute. Rest, play, downtime. These aren't luxuries or wasted time.
I guess the open spaces in the forest.
Exactly. They allow the ecosystem to breathe, to recover, to grow strong. Trying to plant trees crammed right next to each other just leads to a weak, unhealthy forest. You need that space.
Okay, this is powerful stuff. So let's recap the 3 golden keys you, the listener, now have.
Right.
First, locate the problem. Understand it's likely that person-plan mismatch, not just lack of effort. Find where you're working against your nature.
Second, repeatability. Ditch the reliance on willpower. Change the pipe. Adapt the plan to you. Make it small. Bind it to habits. Make it non-painful.
And third, global perspective. Think forest, not just tree. Map your rhythms, use layered planning, and crucially, leave room to breathe. Build a sustainable system.
Spot on. And if you're ready to actually put this into practice, the sources offer a really clear 3-step action plan you can literally start today.
Okay, let's give it to them. Action A. Find your rhythm today. Key 1. Get a piece of paper. Make that quick inspiration calendar. Just jot down for the past week. When did you feel most creative? At least, when did you reach for coffee or force yourself? Where's the mismatch?
Action B. Start small and repeat tomorrow. Key 2. Pick one tiny micro task. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something easy. Schedule it into one of those peak times you just identified. Then, link it to something you already do like, maybe sketch while your coffee brews. And remember the small reward right after.
And Action C. Plant the forest this weekend. Key 3. Look at your upcoming weekend. Schedule one major project session, maybe an hour of focused work during a good energy time. But just as importantly, schedule something fun or restful right after it. Watch a movie, go for a walk, play a game. Build in that recovery from day one.
Yeah, it's about setting up the whole system. And, the really powerful takeaway from all this, the sort of provocative thought to leave you with,
Yeah.
it's that this constant hunt for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment, relying on caffeine to just force the muse to show up, it's all kind of wasted energy.
Because the power is already there.
Exactly. When you stop fighting yourself, when you work with your own deeply ingrained creative nature, the whole process changes. It stops being this uphill climb.
It becomes smooth, like
Yeah.
sliding down a slide.
That's the image they use. Yeah. Effortless flow. This knowledge, this alignment, it's not about finding some magic bullet. It's about unlocking the creative superpower you already possess simply by syncing up with who you actually are.